Hello and welcome to this tutorial for the game New York Zoo. This is what I always call Tetris pieces, and the designer of this game, Uwe Rosenberg, already had a lot of experience making this type of game before he made this one. Here's how it goes. You are going to keep playing until one player has completely filled up her or his own board. Then the game is over and that player is the winner. There are no points, there is no bonus. Whoever fills up her or his own board completely first is the winner. Next, how do you play the game? What do you do when it's your turn? When it's your turn, you move this elephant piece, and then you do the action of the space you landed on. But the first thing you do is move the elephant, and it goes clockwise around the board. If you are playing with 2 players or with 4 players, then you can move the token up to 4 spaces. If you are playing with 3 players or 5 players, you can move the token up to 3 spaces. Your own player board will show you this at the top. You move on the pieces and on the blue spaces. If you land on the blue spaces, you take both of the animals that you see there from the supply. And you can either place them in one of the temporary cages, if it's empty, or you place it on one of your pieces where there is already at least one animal that is the same. You don't have to put both animals in the same space. If you want, you can put one in a cage and one on a piece. Just keep in mind that when you place it on a piece, it has to be one where there is already at least one animal that is the same. For example, a flamingo only goes with other flamingos. Or, if you choose to land the token on one of the pieces, you place that piece anywhere you want on the board in any way you like. And then you must place at least one animal on it. If you can't do that, you're not allowed to take the piece. If you have an animal in a temporary cage on the side here, you can use that. Or you can take at least one animal from a different piece, as long as at least one animal is left behind on that piece. You can place a maximum of 2 animals on the new piece that you place. You can take 2 from the cages, or 2 from another piece, or 1 from a cage and 1 from a piece. It's up to you, as long as you place at least one animal on the new piece that you just placed. But that's it. When it's your turn, you move the elephant token. If you land on a blue space that shows 2 animals, you take those 2 animals from the supply and place them somewhere on your board, the cages or the pieces where there are already animals of that type. Or, when it's your turn, you move the elephant token and take the piece that's on top to place on your own board. But you must place at least one animal on that new piece, and a maximum of 2 animals. I've got some details on that, but first I'd like to explain why you put animals on your pieces. As soon as you have filled every space on that piece with an animal, you are allowed to take an extra piece from there. These sand-colored pieces on the side that show rides and food stands. In that case, you first remove all the animals from the piece, and then you pick one to immediately place on your own board. That is why you put animals there, because when it's full, you can take a bonus piece. And whoever fills up the board first is immediately the winner of the game. But a few details and then we're done. As you already know, when you move your elephant to a blue space with two animals, you can take those animals and place them on your own board. There's more. When you place an animal from the supply onto one of your pieces, you are allowed to take the same animal that was already there in the temporary cage here and also place that on the same piece. For example, I have this flamingo in one of my temporary cages. When it's my turn, I move the elephant to this blue space with the flamingo. I also take this animal and place it here, but I place this flamingo with the other one. And then I'm allowed to take this flamingo in the cage and also put it here. And now this piece is completely filled up with flamingos, so I put all of them back into the supply and I choose this bonus piece to place on my board. So when you take animals, you are allowed to add another same animal from a cage to the piece. And the last thing to explain. When you look at the board, you can also see these spaces. This one, and so on. When you move the elephant, you don't step on these spaces, only the pieces and the blue spaces. But when the elephant passes over one of these, something happens at the end of your turn. First, you do whatever you're supposed to do. And then you look at this. You moved over this space. If you have at least two animals on a piece, there will be a baby. You take that animal from the supply and place it with the other ones. You can only do this once for every piece that has at least two animals of the type that it shows on the board. If there are at least two, place one extra from the supply. For example, I have two penguins here. I move the elephant over this space. I do the action first, and after that, I point to this penguin birth space here. I've got some penguins on this piece, so I place one extra. And I've got a few penguins here as well. So one more for this piece too. But this doesn't only count for you. Every single player at the table can do this as soon as one person moves over this space. Every player gets to place a new baby animal if they have at least two of that type. There's even more. If you are playing the game with 2 players or 3 players, after placing a baby, you are even allowed to take one animal from your cage of the same type and also place that same on the same piece, only one. And we're done. This is how you play New York Zoo. Move the elephant, do your action, and if you moved over one of the reproduction spaces, every player might be able to place an extra animal on their board. If you fill a piece up completely, remove the animals and take a bonus piece from here. I hope you feel you understand how to play this game and that you'll enjoy it. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Feel free to leave a comment and see you for the next one.